Today, we're going to be talking a little bit about email marketing and some of the tips that we can use that I think are very underutilized, like A/B testing and segmentation. But before we get into those tips and tricks and stuff, I want to get sort of the overview of what the current state of email marketing is like, not specifically in the legal industry, but in the B2B industry. What are some of the trends? I think it's on the uptick now, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think during COVID, everyone realized that most people are still checking their emails now more than ever to see what's going on. So you've seen a lot of influx in terms of emails from B2B companies. You see a large influx in terms of B2B companies investing in tools like marketing automation, which leads to even more emails. So, like everything else during COVID, we're just getting more of. Which begs the question, how do you stand out? How do you create something that people actually want to read and respond to? So hopefully we'll answer that in today's session.
All right. Now, email marketing, right? I think the traditional law firm, and I think everyone on this call knows the deal, right? So they'll have sort of a legal alert, a one pager sort of thing, and they blast it out to all of their contacts. Why is that not a good idea?
So it's one of those things where they're trying to make it one size fits all. And if you think about it, we all want different things. I think this BD roundtable is a perfect example. We were talking about how, the regulatory system or the laws in Southeast Asia may be different in India versus EMEA versus the US. So obviously we want things that are locally relevant to us, that speak to us, that can help us in our situation. If it's too generic, if it's something global or something that doesn't resonate with us, then obviously we're just going to just dismiss it and be like, okay, that's a crappy newsletter. When in fact, it may not be, but the problem is that they haven't spent the time to really go and segment and provide locally relevant insights for the audience.
Okay, so now there are loads of tools that we can use like MailChimp, Sendinblue, Active Campaign. So regardless of whatever emailing system that we're using, the tools that we're going to be talking about now can be used across any email marketing program, right? So can you walk us through a little bit of how you sort of segment your audience?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a couple different ways we do it. One of which is looking at, so we use MailChimp because we're a small business, and we do it by adding tags. So I can add a tag for different personas. So for example, we have different people in our list. So some are marketers, some are sales slash business development, some are founders slash CEOs. So obviously the things that a marketer wants may not be the same thing what a salesperson wants versus what a founder or CEO wants. So first we need to make sure that we have them in the right bucket, putting them under tags. And then the next thing we do, which we'll talk about in a little bit, is looking at the quality. So the contact rating. I'm constantly looking at, okay, who are our best engaging subscribers and how do we give them more of what they want?
So I think most law firms, at least mid sophistication, right? They've already tagged or should have tagged sort of the practice group, right? Real
Mhm.
estate, IP, all of that. And they probably have already tagged the industry, like
Mhm.
automotive or whatever. So if you're sending an IP alert, you can send it to the IP contacts. That's sort of basic, bare minimum level sophistication, right? So we should all be doing that. If we're not doing that, do it now, right?
Yes.
But one thing that you sort of demoed to me when we were talking is how you don't just send the email to that segment at once, right? You send it to sort of the different levels of users. Can you explain how that works and why you do that?
Yeah, absolutely. Very good question. So, like customers, not all subscribers are equal. So you'll have some, as MailChimp calls it, your five-star subscribers, which are those who are, engaging with all your posts, they're opening, they're clicking, and so on. And then they'll have your one-star subscribers who maybe, they signed up, but they're not really interested. They're not really engaging with that often. So what I do is I actually experiment with my 1 to 2 star contacts first, send them a newsletter, see if it engages with them. Because going back to our previous conversation, if it engages them, then more than likely the 3 to 5 star subscribers are going to enjoy it. So what
I
I'll do
see.
is I'll analyze that to see, okay, does it actually pass the test? Do I have enough traction? And then I go in there and I say, okay, what are people engaging with? Is it this particular piece of content? If so, do I move it up? Is no one engaging with this piece of content? If so, should I remove it? So I'm actually optimizing it based on the way they engage with the piece of that newsletter. And then I send only the best, most optimized newsletter for my 3 to 5 star contacts. And now I'm hitting about 50% open rates. And there are some people we'll talk about a little bit who have blocked me, not blocked me, but are hiding their addresses, like Will here, who I love. So it's probably actually higher than that. But yeah, that's been something that is a huge shift in terms of our open rates and engagement rates over the past few months.
Okay, so basically, to sum it up, you're saving the best content, right? The most optimized content for your most engaged users, right? So that sort of keeps them opening. And you're using sort of your lower engaged users to test out different layouts or whatever, right?
Yes.
So if a law firm were to do this, so let's say there's a legal roundup or a newsletter where they're sending multiple alerts or content or publications or whatever. So you first send it to your star 1, 2, or 3 users, right? The
Yes.
lower base users, least engaged users, and then you get the report. So you're looking at how many, where they click, how
Mm.
many. So if they don't click on a piece of content, you know that that wasn't very attractive. So
Mm.
what do you do with that content? You reword it or just delete it, or what do you do with
I sometimes I reword it, sometimes I delete it, depending on how confident I am in that piece. So yeah, I tweak it that way.
Okay, and then you duplicate that art email and then you reconfigure it. So you put the content that was clicked the most up front, or does it make sense to put the most used or clicked content at the bottom so they scroll down, or like how do you think about that in terms of placement?
Yes, so I'm constantly looking at which one. So sometimes we'll have a list of say 5 links at the top, and so I'll look at which position is getting the most. Usually, it is the first and the fifth. So people see the first one, they click that, or they'll scroll down and they say, okay, where's the last one? So those are kind of the sweet spots in terms of what we found in terms of list. Um, for the other ones, what we found is if they're in the middle, like bolding certain keywords or having some keyword at the very beginning, such that they can easily scan, has been something we've been experimenting with recently, and has also helped in terms of our click-through rates.
Okay, all right. So this this system is very useful. It takes a little bit of time and effort, which, let's face it, a lot of the BD managers don't really have. But you said it does really help open up your improve your read rates and
Mm,
open rates, right? And you actually have the results to prove that. So
yes.
that's awesome. Now, and similar to doing this sort of system is A/B testing,
Mm.
right? I haven't heard any legal marketer talking about A/B testing. So can you explain what that means?
Yeah, so traditionally A/B testing is taking two variations of one email, whether it is the same email and tweaking subject line A versus subject line B. So running both to different audiences and seeing which one more people click on. Sometimes it is test within the email itself. So if I'm testing a call to action button versus a link, and nothing else changes, that's essentially A/B testing. You're testing one element from a specific email.
Okay, so you're sending one email to your whole audience, but it's split, right? So
Yeah.
half the audience gets email A and half the audience gets email B, A/B testing, right? And the only difference would be, let's say, the subject line or layout. Right? I think Mailchimp has sort of an A/B testing function with built right in, so it should make it quite easy, right? Have
Yeah.
you played around with that at all?
I mean, I usually do it without it, but yeah, it's you can do it pretty easily within the platform itself. It's just essentially setting up two different variations and then having it run to your list. So it's actually pretty easy to run.
Okay. So with those two systems, right? Segmentation, sending the emails to the correct people at different times, right? And then A/B testing, we should really be able to optimize our layouts and content to provide the best content available. But getting that content is a bit difficult. So, what are some of your tips before we wrap up on content for law firms that they can put into emails? Do you recommend like pictures, long form text, links only, blurbs? What have you seen work the most in other industries?
So the format will really depend on the organization, the audience. I'll give you a specific example. Mine are very much written from a personal tone. So it looks like it's written from me, even though it's going out to the list. And it's written in such a personal way that people will reply to that thinking it's directly for them and thanking me for that, which is the holy grail of really good personal emails. I have seen those who are a little bit more corporate who have like, the chunky text and the long text and stuff like that. So it really depends on what style you're looking for. In terms of the length, I always look at who is the audience. So for example, once you're segmenting by seniority, for example, if you're segmenting maybe junior partners or something maybe more junior, then obviously you can have longer emails because they have a little bit more time. If you're going after the senior partners who are very time starved, they just want the highlights. They want the executive summary. They don't want anything else. So it's important to break it up depending on who exactly you're targeting. And also something that's been super powerful for us is this concept of mirroring who you send it to. Sorry, who it goes from. So let's say that you have a team that you're working with, and some of the emails will go from the partner, senior partner, for example, the most senior person, versus maybe a mid-level manager. Now, what we found with working with a lot of B2B companies is that this concept of mirroring comes into place, where partners relate to partners, maybe managers relate to managers. So it resonates with them more if they feel like it's coming from someone at their level versus maybe someone who's like a big gap in terms of their seniority. So that has been another kind of thing you can experiment with in terms of who you're actually sending the email from or the name from. So if you look at the signature, is it coming from a senior partner or maybe a mid-level junior partner, for example?
Right, awesome. So you can basically use the designation in your collection field to see, okay, is this sending to the C-suite, to the manager level, to the in-house counsel, right? So anything that's sent to the in-house counsel can be a little bit more legalistic, right? You can put some more of that text in there, but if it's just going out to, the business managers and C-suite, they don't really care about that. They're not lawyers, so they don't need any of that sort of
Yeah,
info.
absolutely correct.
Well, we may need to start thinking about sending our like two emails out, one for in-house counsel, one for the business community, because I think our lists in law firms contain both. So it
Mm,
might be good to tag all of your in-house counsel versus all of your non-lawyers, right? And send the emails to that. All right. So for those who are watching on YouTube, we're going to continue this session, getting a little bit more detail in the roundtable. So if you want to watch the extended version, head on over to bdroundtable.com to sign up to become a member for free. Now, for those who are interested to connect with Joe, where's the best place to get in touch with you?
yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm usually hanging out there. So Joe Escobedo, or if you type in the keyword B2B brand builder, more than likely you'll find me there.
All right, awesome. Thanks so much, Joe.
Thank you.